partial loss of contact with the here and now. This distraction is based on the representation of space within a place. Following Michel de Certeau, place is understood as here, as an actual stable and distinct location, whereas space represents the mobile elements connected by the directional vectors, velocities, and time variables. Within this representation of space within a place, the space becomes a non-space in which the exchange between virtuality and actuality begins. A primary characteristic of non-space is its detachment from its surrounding. Movie rays, for instance, seem to rather float over the landscape instead of being integrated into their surroundings. They form a geography of their own, which overlays a local, heterogeneous, and static reality with a metropolitan, homogeneous, and mobile layer. Movie rays are not places, but vectors, experienced as being in between. In the privacy of the vehicle, the driver, detached from the social world, becomes a subject that is more present to itself than the blur of the surroundings distorted by speed and projected on the windscreen. Mobility becomes a paradox of standstill and movement. This means that in a non-space, the moving body is no longer an indicator of real movement in space. This results in disorientation as the body no longer localizes itself. Yet one day, something tragic happens. A young man has a motor car. He suddenly finds himself without hope, without future. The young man's name is Eventual Loiseau, and he is
Wollen Sie mitfahren?
Ja, aber manchmal ist die Antwort auch sehr ignorant.
I think it's the closest thing we ever did to a love story. And now I want to tell you another story. It's a story about a lodge. It's a story about a project we did in the last couple of months. And first I have to start with this strange logo. What is it? It's a sun, it's breasts, and it's a hammer. What's it? What's the story about that? I tell you. In the year 1985, a couple of Austrian and German artists, most of them pretty well known by then, Martin Kippenberger, for example, who is a really famous artist nowadays, and he's dead, and Jörg Schlick and Wolfgang Bauer and Albert Oehlen. So they met in a small cafe in Graz in Austria, and they got drunk. Pretty drunk. And they had this strange thing of, yeah, we have a deadline tomorrow, we have to make like an exhibition together, we have to have a topic for our exhibition, let's drink. And then, I know what we are doing. We are creating a lodge, an art lodge, like a mafia lodge, but no, an art lodge. And we call it the Lord Jim Lodge. Like relating to this novel by Joseph Conrad. And because we are so drunk, we just scribble a tiny little logo on a piece of paper like this one, and we send it to the printers the next day, and now we have a perfectly interesting topic for a group exhibition. But we have to find some interesting ideas for this strange lodge. First of all, no women allowed. So okay, no women are being allowed to be part of the lodge, the Lord Jim Lodge. Secondly, we, like the founding fathers of the Lord Jim Lodge, we want that the logo should become more well-known than the logo of the Coca-Cola Corporation. The second thing, it's a little bit like 80s style anti-arts art, so, whatever. And the third thing, yes, we achieve this basic idea of spreading the logo by adding the logo to our artworks. So if I make, if I'm Jörg Schlick and I make an installation, I put the logo on the installation. And if Kippenberger makes a self-portrait, he paints the logo on the self-portrait. So there are actually, in the next couple of years, many artworks with the logo on it were created. Okay. We tried, the next slide please, we tried to put that into a picture. You see on the upper left corner Lord Jim and a couple of tiny little artists climbing up here and then seeing the wonderful Lord Jim and creating the lodge. The next picture please. Many of the artists had a really good career. For example, Martin Kippenberger, who is now, he's dead, but still his pictures are selling for millions of euros. He was part of the Documenta, and the Documenta is one of the biggest, actually the biggest art exhibition in the world in 1997, and he constructed a couple of fake subway entrances and put the logo of the Lord Jim Lodge onto it. And there were a couple of other projects, but after a couple of years, nobody was really interested in doing more stuff with the Lord Jim Lodge. There was this big myth about the lodge, but nobody really knew. A couple of the artists died, for example, Kippenberger and later Wolfgang Bauer. So there was the lodge high in symbolic value because it was at the Documenta and whatever, and so many famous artists were part of the lodge, but still nobody took care about it. And next one, please. In the year 2000, Jörg Schlick, one of the members, the founding members of the lodge, learned to know two members of Monochrome, Daniel Fabri and Annika Kronberger, who back then weren't members of Monochrome at all, but he was teaching them at the University for Information Design in Graz. And they learned to know each other and said, you're a nice guy, and maybe we should do something together in the future. And really, in the year 2005, Jörg Schlick called us and told us, hey, come on, let's go to a cafe